standing inventory. And is this a problem? What does it mean? And most likely, in my opinion, it's not such a problem. What happens, there's a shortage of resale housing right now. So builders are getting more comfortable carrying more standing inventory as they fill the gap of that resale shortage. And so they're willing to build more houses faster and carry more inventory. It's okay. They also still have big margins. They can always, dip into those margins to subsidize rate or to give concessions to sell the homes whenever they want. Instead, they're keeping inventory high, selling at a premium, not worried about this excess standing inventory, knowing that they're the only game in town. And so I think it's okay. There's another data point this week that I covered, and this was just a history of home construction. And you can see home construction peaked in 1972 when 2.4 million houses were built. And today there's only 1.4 million houses built. But here's what's interesting. In 1972, there was only 200 million Americans. Today, there's 335 million Americans. So not only are we building almost 50% fewer houses, but it's for 50% more people. And so that's the problem. That's why we have a housing shortage in America. So that's what gets us the first two news pieces. But there was even a more interesting piece that came out just a couple days ago, and it came out from The Hustle. Zachary Crockett's the author. The name of the piece was Why America has so many big houses. And it's a really fascinating article. And what it speaks to is that, the average size of houses have doubled over the last century, or the last 100 years. It's gone from 1,000 square feet to 2,500 square feet. And yet at the same time, the amount of people living in the house has cut in half from 4.3 people per household to 2.5. Why? What's happened? And so I'm going to share the article with you because it has a lot of really good data points. I did a LinkedIn post on this. You can check it out. I really liked it. So here's what the article looks like. I'll share my screen with you. So this is the Hustle piece, Why Americans Have So Many Big Houses. Now look how much great data this has. We get right to it. Here's the average size of homes. You can see in 1920, it was 1,048. In 2020, it was 2,491. In fact, the number one year, I think, was 2022, is almost 2,800 square feet. So, but sizes have doubled in 100 years, which is really interesting. Now, as they've gotten bigger, we're not surprised. There's more bedrooms. Almost 50% of houses have 4 bedrooms. Is that crazy? And over a third of houses have more than 2 bedrooms, at least 2.5 bedrooms. And so homes have grown in size, and as has the bedrooms and bathrooms. But this is the most interesting data point right here. What this shows us is that in 1920, the average house was 1,048 square feet, and 4.2 people lived in that house. Today, the average house is 2,491 square feet, but only 2.5 people live in that house. This article goes on to explain the reasons why. As a matter of fact, I'll actually share it. Sorry, I'll go back. I'll share it. The reason why it is, one, builders are motivated to build bigger houses because as they build bigger houses, the fixed cost stays the same, but it's spread over to a bigger square footage. So the cost per square foot drops. They actually maintain bigger margins for bigger houses. And then because they've been able to get purchasing power and economies of scale, when they buy more goods, it's actually cheaper for them. So that's what's happened. Now here's in this article, I'm just going to preview it. We're not going to go over it. This is a chart of how much each item costs in building a house. So for a 2,560 square foot house, this is how much each single line item costs. If you're interested, check this article out. I'm going to put a link in my notes below. Super interesting. The last chart that I found interesting in this article was right here, what buyers actually want. Today, buyers want smaller homes, right? Because of affordability. And what are builders doing to react to that? They're, of course, building smaller homes. And so we're going to see smaller homes hit the market because of affordability. Really, really interesting. And my biggest takeaway from, I did a post on the first two charts, and I did a post on this article, but the takeaway is nobody's immune from change. Everybody's going through change. The world is changing. Consumer behavior is changing. The markets are changing. Everything's in flux. Everything is fluid. We feel it as real estate agents. We feel it as loan officers. and builders certainly feel it too. Now, they're handicapped because they have to make decisions 10 years before their product goes to the market, so they really have to look at a crystal ball. That's why you should always pay attention to builders, because builders are super bright about trying to figure out the future, and they'll be the quickest ones to pivot. Anyway, a lot of stuff going on with new construction. I'll put this link to this article below. The other thing I want to do is I want to encourage you to stop by my LinkedIn site. In my LinkedIn site, I will not only have a link to this article, but I'll have a summary with the bullet points. I post quite a few times relevant articles that I hope help us be better. With that, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for stopping by. I hope you're having a great week, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks.